Something big happened this week. The first massive change to banking in about 100 years just happened, and it's a massive shift in the banking system, and the implications are huge. So in this video, I'm going to break down what these changes are, what this all means, and if you move right now, you have a chance to profit from this move before the rest of the world catches on. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mark Moss. I do these videos because I believe the only real security we have in life is to take responsibility for ourselves, to learn how to make money, to grow our money, protect it, so that we have options in life. Now, the world's changing fast. Now, if you agree, you like these topics, you want to hear more about these topics, click the like button right now so more people hear them. Of course, click the subscribe button and the bell notification so you're notified every time I put new videos out. Now, before we jump into the topics of this video, I just want to thank everybody on this channel for watching these videos. I just received my YouTube Creators Award that I've been so excited about for passing 100,000 subscribers. I got the box. I've been waiting to open it up because I wanted to do it on video, and I had to wait till I recorded a new video. So here we are. Gonna open this up right now. And let's take a look and see what's in this box. I'm so excited. Here we go. I got a letter for 100,000 subscribers. Big news. I got a card and what I've been waiting for. Let's take a look. Look at that. So excited. 100,000 subscribers. Of course, now we're well over 150,000 subscribers, so it takes a while to get there. The numbers are going fast, and it's all because of people like you watching this channel. So I really, really, really appreciate that. And I guess you do like these topics. So anyway, thanks for joining in. I appreciate that. You're going to see that sitting on the bookshelf behind me in the coming videos. So now if you watch this video, you're going to know what it is. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the content of this video. And we're talking about the banking system. We're talking about a change in the banking system, the first big change we've had in a long time. The banking system as we know it has been in existence for several hundred years, all right? It really started, this kind of central bank model, this central banking model that we have, started at the Bank of England all the way back in 1694. And then we saw the central bank model come to the United States. And then, this banking system, it had its kind of rough start throughout the US, and really it took hold in Federal Reserve Creation Act of 1913. All right, now, most people watching this probably just take the banking system for granted. Now, of course, I've talked a lot about it, so if you've been watching these videos, you get a little bit better. But most people just take take the banking system for granted, and people really seem to fail to really grasp how it even works, all right? But the foundational structure of these banks, like I said, it's been completely changed. And it happened just this week, as we saw for the first time the biggest change in banking since its inception. And while this shift might seem subtle for some, the ripple effects that are going to happen that will be caused by this tiny shift is going to transform the entire banking system, and for the better. Now, I'm not a fan of the banking system, so I am super happy to see these types of changes happen. Now, I've seen some of the comments from you that talk about, I talk about too much doom and gloom on this channel. And I could see that some of you might think that, all right, because I highlight a problem, particularly in the financial space, but I only highlight the problem so we can understand the problem and the opportunity this solution creates. So as business owners, as investors, we make money by solving the needs and problems of others. So it's important to understand this. And so today, I do have mostly all good news because, as I said, this big shift in banking that we saw is going to be a massive positive change for the country and the world. So let's just dig right into it, and let's look at what happened and what we're going to do about it. But of course, first, let's take a little trip back in the time machine. Of course, I'd love to go back into history. We're going to go back to the creation of the current banking system so we can first understand the problems with the banking so we can then better appreciate the changes that have recently been made. Now, when the US was first being founded and the banking system was first being formed, there was hundreds of banks that were popping up all the time. And then these banks, they'd pop up all over the place, and then they would be going bust. So we'd have booms and busts. Banks would pop up and go bankrupt, pop up and go bankrupt over and over and over again. And it was happening all the time. And the reason why these banks would go bust is because they would take the money and then they would loan it back out. They'd loan out depositors money. Then oftentimes these loans were bad. The bank didn't have the money to give back to the depositors. So when the depositors came back to get their money, all of a sudden the bank didn't have the funds and they would go bust. They would go bankrupt. Of course, this left the depositors broke. So it wasn't a very good situation. Now, to understand this whole period in banking was about 100 years that we saw before the creation of the Federal Reserve. It's super, super interesting, at least for me, because I'm a history nerd. But I highly recommend that you read a book called The Mystery of Banking by Murray Rothbard. And as a free gift, I'm going to give you a link to download a free PDF copy of the book, and it's in the description of this video, so you can download a free copy of that book and read it. I highly recommend it. Anyway, it's a great book. Now, the Federal Reserve was created in 1913 partly to solve the problem of these banks starting and going bust all the time. So they were supposed to backstop the banks so they wouldn't go bust. So if they ran out of money, the Fed could give them money. Now, this way the depositors didn't lose their money. And then eventually in 1933, then we saw FDIC insurance pop up, which then insured the banking deposits for the customers. Now, before you start lighting up the comments, because I can already hear your keyboard clacking away, just let me say, yes, I have read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. I have read the book. And of course, I understand what the Fed is really doing. I mean, if you're new to this channel, I get it. But if you scroll through the feed of videos, you're going to see I have like 100 videos talking about the nefarious, the dangerous actions, policies of the central bank. But that's not the purpose of this video. It's not what I'm talking about. So now with the Federal Reserve backstopping the banks, the Fed was now able to print basically an unlimited amount of money. And of course, when they increase the money supply, it decreases your purchasing power. This is why, for example, you think like the price of houses goes up, right? Houses got so much more expensive, but it's not that houses got more expensive. It's just that the value of the dollar went down. And so it takes more dollars to buy that house today. Now, the dollar's lost over 95% of its purchasing power just since the Fed came to power. And it's this endless debasement of the currency that's been happening, and it's theft. By printing money, they're stealing your value. They're stealing your purchasing power, which is why I'm such a huge proponent of Bitcoin, because finally we have a digital scarce asset that's decentralized. So because it's decentralized, it's not controlled by anybody. And because it's not controlled by anybody, it can't be manipulated by anybody. Now, over the last 11 years, it's grown its user base, it's grown its security, it's grown its value. It's actually been the best performing asset over the last 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, all the way down to last year. Now, I know based off the comments I get on videos whenever I mention Bitcoin, the number one objection is, what if the government bans Bitcoin? What if the government bans it? I hear it all the time. Well, today we have some positive changes to all those problems and questions. So what's the big news? Let's get to it. So U.S. banking system just gave its first banking license and charter to a cryptocurrency exchange. Now I'm talking about Kraken, all right? And this is really big news because one, it shows the idea of the U.S. shutting Bitcoin down has been pretty much diminished, right? Two, it fixes the number one flaw with banks, which is this fractional reserve banking system where you lose your money. And three, there's several other things that really come up because of this, and I want to move through them pretty quickly. So let's just go ahead and just jump right in so you can see how big this is. So first, Kraken is going to be a full bank. They're going to be a bank, and they're going to give you all the same services that you would expect for both your personal and your business accounts. Now this includes, obviously holding your money, storing your dollars, and your crypto assets, as well as handling all your payments in and out, wire transfers, things like that, providing debit cards that can pull from your dollars or your crypto accounts, and then even get into securities, commodities, things like that. So a full service bank, just like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whatever, but not just for dollars. They're going to give you the same services for cryptocurrencies as well. Store it, protect it, payments, debit cards, wire transfers, the whole thing seamlessly, choosing between dollars or Bitcoin or whatever crypto that you want. It's going to be pretty amazing. Now, This is a huge positive shift. The big change is that Kraken is required to hold 100% reserves on cash and digital assets. So this means no rehypothecation. Rehypothecation is basically when they take your asset and they loan it back out. Somebody else takes that asset and they loan it back out. They take it, they loan it back out over and over and over again. The first 4 videos on this channel talk about rehypothecation. Explain that if you want to go back and watch that. All right, so basically the problems that plagued the banking system before the Federal Reserve, which is that they didn't have the money to give back to depositors, is solved because with the banking license that Kraken has, they're required to keep 100% of the reserves in-house. So no matter what happens, they're not going to be loaning out your deposits. All right, so there's not going to be any more risk. So that way, if 100% of the depositors showed up and said, hey, I want my money back, they'd all be able to get their money back. Now with traditional banks, if 1% of depositors went to the bank and asked for their money, it could cause the banks to actually crash because they don't have the money. Now, another huge development, especially over other Bitcoin and crypto exchanges, is what we call proof of funds. So if you have your Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies on exchanges, whether that's Coinbase, Bitfinex, Binance, wherever you have them, you have no proof that they actually have your assets, your coins, whatever, right? You don't have any proof they have them. Their policies allow them to loan those assets out to other people, the rehypothecation I was talking about, and there's absolutely no transparency. So they could loan it out and somebody else loans it out and somebody else loans it out and somebody else loans it out. It could be 5, 6 people away from you and you have no idea. You have no idea, but with Kraken, they're fully transparent, they're fully audited, they're fully verified by the US banking system, which is pretty strict. So you can rest assured that your funds are going to be there, they're going to be safe. And if this sounds strange to you, you might be missing the technicalities of how banks really work. So the way banks really work is that when you deposit your money into a bank or your digital assets into an exchange, legally and technically, you don't own them anymore. Instead, legally, you're owed them, right? So they don't belong to you anymore. That banking institution, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, etc., they owe them to you. And that's a big distinction, all right? Now, I know it sounds about the same with owed to me, whatever, but it's a big distinction because if the bank or the exchange, if they were to go bust, if they were to go bankrupt, or if regulators came in to take them over, your assets are gone, right? Your assets are gone because they're the bank's assets. They're not your assets. But with Kraken, with their new banking license that they have, legally, you continue to hold legal ownership. This is a really big deal. So if they go bankrupt, if regulators take them over, whatever happens, the assets have to be returned to the owners, to the customers, to you. So instead of having the assets claimed by a judge during bankruptcy, you get them back. And this is a really big deal. So 100% reserves, you're guaranteed that your funds are always going to be there. 2, you own the funds. They're not owed to you, which, like I said, is a really big deal. Now, I did a recent video where I called Game Theory. You can see it up here, where I talked about how a company called MicroStrategy, they made a really big move, a really bold move. And basically what they did is they took its cash reserves. They're sitting on about $500 million of cash. And they just said, hey, we don't want to hold this cash anymore. Cash is losing value. It's too much risk to hold the cash. So we're going to hold Bitcoin instead. I talked about that already. We did a video. Go check it out. So about $425 million into Bitcoin. But the problem is their traditional bank doesn't allow for that. Right? So they have their traditional bank where they have their payments coming in and out, they pay their payroll, they pay their employees, etc., but they can't use their Bitcoin there. Their Bitcoin has to sit over there. But now, an option to have a bank like Kraken where your financial services, the dollars, the Bitcoin, they can all be in one account. You can have the seamless integration and you can just automatically switch back and forth, receive or spend from either account. I mean, this is going to accelerate more businesses doing exactly what MicroStrategy is doing. One, obviously, MicroStrategy is having massive success. Their stock price is going through the roof. So more companies want to do that. Of course, it's difficult. And now Kraken's going to make that super easy. And now businesses can now accept payments in both cash and Bitcoin right to their same bank account through their same bank without having to set up all these different things. So now they can hold cash reserves in dollars. They can hold cash reserves in Bitcoin. They can provide payroll and salaries in either type of payment. Some employees want dollars, some employees want Bitcoin. No problem. As well as their employees, their contractors, all those people can also have bank accounts to receive those types of assets and hold those assets. So whatever company uses Kraken as a bank to send Bitcoin or dollars, the employees can also set up accounts to receive those as well. So I'm talking about a seamless integration, a full service provider. And this is going to accelerate Bitcoin adoption at an amazingly fast rate, way faster than what we've ever seen, because it's still kind of clunky. It's a little bit difficult. You have to use multiple platforms. Businesses that can't really use it, but that has all changed. Now, this opens up the door for way more businesses, way more funds to start jumping in because of these services. More people are going to jump in because of the ease, the security that's provided. Like I said, you really can't trust these exchanges with your coins. I don't recommend it. But with Kraken, because they're verifying that they have your funds, because they're regulated by a banking industry, I think it's a really, really good option. Now, the shift of banking and Bitcoin all coming together, this is a very pivotal point in time right now. So remember this time, it just happened this week. It's a very pivotal time, and I believe that the months and the years ahead are going to be super, super fast and really exciting. And basically, you have an edge right now, all right? You have access to this information before the general public does. I mean, sure, people that are paying attention to Bitcoin get it, but what percentage of the population is that? It's very, very, very small. So you have the chance right now to front run this. You have the chance to get in on this before the rest of the world starts to figure this out. This is a massive shift, and you can get Bitcoin before the masses and the businesses start moving in, like MicroStrategy is doing. Now, let me know what you think in the comments. Does this approval by the banking system give Bitcoin more legitimacy? Yes or no? Does this help calm your fears of the government banning Bitcoin now that the Federal Reserve has extended a banking charter to the Bitcoin Bank? Let me know what you think. All right, that's what I got for you today. Leave me a comment and let me know. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you like it. If you don't like the video, that's okay. Give me some thumbs down, but leave me a comment and let me know why. And that's what I got for you today. To your success, I'm out.